Good afternoon and welcome to this afternoon's webinar. Again, it'll be a short session where you're just going to explore how Self-Placement Manager works, which complements our webinar yesterday, which talks about manual work placement creation. So without further ado, we'll jump in and we'll explain to you how the self-placement process works and how you can get your students involved. So we're going to be exploring the app today and the Connect platform. We'll start with the Connect platform and explain to you how you're going to get your students to use the app. There's also a video on this which points you to how to get your students involved with the app, but you'll have a mobile app section in your navigation bar, a status screen, and you will send the students an invite via the status screen. They will get the invite and the QR code. They will log into the app, and once they get into the app, there's obviously a training video on this, but once they get into the app, they're going to be prompted with some tasks, obviously promoting work placement, career provision, industry sectors. They're going to be asked to take some tests and some industry preferences, but once they're in, they're going to get to a dashboard, and from the dashboard, they are going to be able to submit self-placement applications. So we can do it from here, or we can do it from the placement section under add new placement. So this is in the scenario whereby you have launched your work experience programs, you've promoted self-placement, students have gone out and found their own placement, they met with an employer, they would take out their phone and they would submit the digital form, which replaces any kind of paper copy. And it's very simple to do. They're going to click on this add new placement. They're going to enter the employer's details, fill in all the boxes. A lot of these boxes are mandatory, so they can't skip it, because obviously if there's no email address or no phone number or contact details, it's going to be very difficult for your staff to do their job effectively. So a lot of this stuff is mandatory. And then they will put their start and end date of their placement. If there is a mandatory number of hours the student has to do, they are warned here as part of their curriculum, the number of hours they need to do as part of their placement. Then they'll go on to working days for their work placement, and they'll submit the days that they're working and the hours that they are proposed to work for those days. If there's any goals or any targets to be set, they'll be accessed here, and they'll review the placement, making sure the details are correct, the start and end date they're happy with, and they will click submit a placement. And it's as simple as that. And the first time they do it, they'll get a pat on the back, they'll get a badge to confirm that it's been submitted, it's waiting to be verified, and obviously they'll get a badge to congratulate them on finding their own placement, which is fantastic. So at that point, the student's kind of done their job, they've submitted their placement, and now it's been waited to be verified by your team. So what happens then is your team will, every day they will go to the placement section on the navigation bar, and they will click on verify. And this is a CRM to help manage and track self-placements and placement opportunity applications. It'll always be the student going out the soonest will be at the top, because actually that's your priority. Staff can filter it via particular areas that they work in, but once they found the group of students, the applications that they want to approve or verify, they'll click on the name of the employer. It'll obviously give them an overview of the student, their department, the course they're doing, any industry interests, when it was created. And the first section is employer details. And if I just click back, we'll use this one as an example. You'll see that the information that goes into the employer is obviously what the student has inputted. For the purposes of you and your team and the management of those placements, you can actually edit and change that information. And if the placement is already in Connect, it will pre-warn you so that you're not creating duplicates. I just wanted to show you that you can see the difference between this is actually an opportunity application. So your staff will be able to tell the difference between a self-placement application and a placement opportunity application, which are different, which we're going to be talking about next week. So once the staff member is happy with the employer's details, and either they're going to edit the information and allow the new employer, if it's not already in the system, to be added, or they're going to choose an employer that's already in the system. Then they're going to be asked to confirm they're happy with the placement details. So the start date, the end date, the role, the contact details. So again, just making quality assurance, making sure that all the information is concise and correct. Obviously, which is going to aid the process later down the line. And once they're happy with all this information, they've got an option, which is to save and verify it. They can save and unverify it and come back later. I don't know why they would do that, but if it's what they wanted to do, they could do that. They can also, if I just go back, you'll see one of the other options is they can deny a placement. So if they see the student is a level 3 engineering student and this is a placement in a local shop, it might be the college's policy that actually wouldn't be acceptable. So in which case they can deny those placement applications and give a reason why that placement has been denied. For example, it's not meaningful, it's not in line with the course of study. So yeah, they can do that. But if they approve the placement, once they've gone through and gone through all the information, once they've approved the placement, the student and the employer will be joined together, very much the same as creating a placement. And once that happens, the placement the application will be removed from here. Job done, it's removed from the list as part of that CRM. The student and the employer will be joined together, and then it will move on to the next phase, which would be obviously the risk management phase. So just to recap, student will access the app, they will click on new placement, they will submit the application form. Why it's still waiting to be verified, it will show as unverified here. Once you have approved or denied the placement, they'll get a notification. If it's been approved, it will likely go to a pending, which means it's been approved and it's a placement in the future, or it'll show as denied. If it is showed as denied, if I go to a student's homepage, you will see that each student has a denied section. So you'll be able to track students that have had placements who've not been approved, and that's part of your data exchange service as well, so you can keep an eye on that. And you'll obviously then be able to also track students that have self-placed as one of your key targets. So the system will log all those self-placement applications and also log the ones that have been approved, so you can keep an eye on those students that have made that transition to find their own placement, which is fantastic. So yeah, self-placement, really simple to do. Student, we've gone paperless. Student can do it through their app. Your team can manage it through the verification tab, and it's very simple to approve and deny. So hope you found that session useful, and thank you very much. I look forward to showcasing next week's webinar, which will be about placement opportunities and approving them. Thank you.